welcome back to another edition of Bragging Rights Breakdown. All right, we had a shitty week of football. I don't even know what this was. So many upsets, injuries, freak plays. Let's just get into around the NFL. So, top players this week were Jeremy Langford and Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I guess that's right. Bucks beat the Cowboys. Skins over the Saints. Dolphins over the Eagles. Chiefs over the Broncos. Craziness of the Lions over the Packers. Wow. Even crazier, Monday night Texans over the Bengals, shutting down their undefeated season. I don't even know what's happening anymore. The final play, the Jaguars game that allowed them to win, is now being denounced as a play that shouldn't have even happened, according to NFL officials. Aldon Smith is suspended for a ton of illegal activity, lots of charges brought up against him. Greg Hardy still being an ass, but the Cowboys are still supporting it. Luke, get your fucking team together. Rob, you too. Manning got benched and is now out for at least a week. Saints fire Rob Ryan as defensive coordinator, and Tony Romo makes his return this week. All right, so big week in the NFL, lots going on. Moving on to the awards. Juggernaut, that was actually me, 128.2 points, not the highest we've ever seen. Kingslayer, Infinite Loop, 2-7 over Ball on a Budget, 7-2. Nice one, Tony. We'll see how that goes again. Lombardi, Balls Deep with Jeremy Langford, 30.2 points. Tough Luck, Balls Deep, third most points to lose to the top player, which was me. Luck out, Luke played only one of the two people that you could have beat this week. So good job there, Luke. Underdogs lost by 35.6 points. That's a big teabag there. Bonehead of the game. Cowboys with 56.9 points on the bench. Failed profit, Ball on a Budget, lost with a predicted 18.2 win. Spacing it at Tony again with Matt Bryant this time. Tony, get your shit together. Again, just stop starting bye week and injured players. Game of the week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Mortals against Project Badass, decided by 1.3 points. And he had the opportunity to do it. Recap. Chris and I went 3-2. Mike went 2-3. Nate went 1-4. So next week I'll give total records for anybody who's tried predicting this insanity. So look forward to that next week. All right, recap. Reign of Wayne at Balls Deep. Chris got this one right. Even though Chris S had Langford, no dice on the win. I had 420-plus point players, including painfully effective Sharkhandrick West against my Broncos. Trust me, that one hurt me a little bit. Tied for a while in the afternoon, but I won by 128.2 to 99.9. Beats by Ray at Cowboys. All four got this right. Ugly game with no big players. Rob stood a chance for a while, even when Luke had the final two players. Luke barely pulled this one out with a hideous-looking Dalton on Monday. Not his normal showing. Final was 72.7 to 78.4 in Luke's favor. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. I just goofed up on my thing up here. All right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Mortals at Project Badass. Only I got this one. Another ugly game. Nate was more consistent for sure, but low scoring. Foley's team looked ugly, but was saved by Antonio Brown and Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I read that right. And then I saw he dropped him this week. Interesting. Nate should have won, but Eifert dropped a number of easy passes that would have swung the game. Several of them hit him straight in the hands. I don't know what was going on there. Foley won 87.5 to 88.8. Ball on the Budget at Infinite Loop. No one got this. Brian had a tough time getting anything going this week. And despite his kicker being benched, Tony pulled out a win, largely thanks to Brandon Cooks. Final score goes to Tony in the upset, 74.4 to 98. Underdogs at Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies. All but Nate guessed this one right. Mike looked like himself again with some good production all around. Chris seemed to be having some issues getting a strong roster perform yet again. And this game was close briefly, but Mike really took this into a blowout, 77.2 to 112.3. Predictions. Got a lot of predictors this week, so here we go. Beats by Ray at Reign of Wayne. If I lose, I have to wear a Roma jersey for Sunday. And for a full Sunday. And if Rob loses, he has to wear the same jersey, but with a pink tutu for an entire Sunday. We put an extra bet on this just for shits and giggles, so I will definitely post the pictures when that happens on here. Last time we met was week 3, which you may remember as when I started the breakdown. And it was also coincidentally the week that I put up the largest points all game, 161.5 in case you don't remember. But I only have 3 starters remaining from that game, so we'll see what happens. I have matchups and the early projections. Beats by Ray to win, only so I don't jinx myself again. Fully agreed with me though. Reign of Wayne, Chris Folks, and Brian and Nate all took me. Balla on a budget at Project Badass. These two teams are fighting for first in Budweiser League at 7-3. It's pretty cool. Brian is favored in the projections, but matchups lean towards Foley's way. This one's tough and really comes down to key players executing. Since Brian is on a losing streak and Foley seems to be on a hot streak, I got to go Project Badass on this one. Also, Chris, Folks, Brian agreed. Foley won against himself, and Nate agreed on that one. And I apologize for my cat. She likes being a little talkative one. Fire-breathing rubber duckies at the Cowboys. While the predictions and matchups lean towards Folks in a seemingly one-sided matchup, don't count Luke out yet. Luke has come up big several times. Admittedly, though, it's hard for me to go with Luke since most of, but not all of, his wins have been against lesser teams in the league or weeks that good teams scored like crap. Luke has bad luck against the big guys as well, scoring high but getting beat by slightly higher scores. Mike took the match in week 2, and I think he'll do it again. Fire-breathing rubber duckies to win. Chris, Folks, Nate, and Brian agreed. Foley said the Cowboys. And by the way, in case you didn't know, Foley just disagreed with Folks all the way through, in case you weren't privy to that text message. Underdogs at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Nate has Folks hot on his tail, and he's seen a drop in performance in the Coors League. Underdogs are struggling to get their team performing at a level that they should be. This is a close matchup in projections and matchups. Nate took this one last time in his bid to start his big season in week 2. Frankly, I think Chris is going to flip the script and take Nate out. Dodgeball, a true underdog story to win, and Chris F., Folks, Nate, and Brian agreed again. Foley picked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just to go against Folks. Infinite Loop at Balls Deep, final game here. Chris needs this one to keep up in the wild card race with me. I want to lean with the projections and matchups and go with Ball Deep, but every time I underestimate Tony, it seems one-sided. And every time I say that, he shuts me up in some sort of miraculous scoring. So I base solely off of how one-sided this seems. I have to go the opposite way and say Infinite Loop to win. Foley agreed with me again just to be opposite of Folks. Everybody else, Chris F., Folks, Nate, and Brian, all went with Balls Deep. That's all I got for this week. Make sure you cast your predictions my way. I got a bunch of them already. I'd like to see more next week. That being said, let's watch some Thursday Night Football, and I'll catch you downfield.